What's up? Hey, so I just wanted to share something really quickly. I'm about to have to return this camera rental as well as this lens rental. I wanted to show you guys just the lens, but I don't want to talk about it from a technical perspective. I want to talk about it from an art perspective. And I know a lot of us, we want to tell stories, and I really want to just share with you how a particular lens can do something that other lenses can't do. And it is the Canon 100mm macro. It's a really cool lens. I think this is the L series, and I think it's the version 2 of the lens. And I really want to highlight it because it does something very different than many other lenses. Because it's a macro lens, it's able to go very close to an object. It's able to zoom in and then have great detail at a very close distance. Non-technical aside, it gets really close, and I can show you some images right here. Just looking at these images, you can tell, okay, it brings me in really close. The other thing that this lens is capable of doing is being very still. What I mean by getting really still is that it has a stabilizer, and when you're using a macro lens, every kind of movement, because you're so zoomed in, creates a micro shake, and that micro shake shows up in the image. With the stabilizer, it reduces a lot of the micro shake, and you can get really still, especially if you use a tripod. The difference I want to highlight is that when we are shooting handheld versus on a tripod, handheld mimics more of how humans move. Our eyes are constantly moving. A tripod does not move, so it actually acts different than a human. So it puts someone in the perspective of saying, this is not a human, this is a standing camera. Now, when you go super zoomed in, you start looking at the world differently than how an eye would look. When you go close to something, you can see a lot in the periphery, but you are focused in on one thing. Now what happens in this camera is there's no periphery, it goes zoomed in, and all you see is something very small, and it cuts out the rest of the world. And so for a client, I rented this lens so that way I could create these images that were meditative. They're like supposed to be images that you kind of forget about the world and you focus in on something. So what we did is we shot on this lens and at 120 frames per second. So we were able to slow things down by 6 times the natural speed. And what that did is it put someone in a place that they never get to go in. They never get to go to a world that's 6 times the speed slower and so zoomed in. So I wanna highlight with some of the images I shot, but also just say, like, if you're looking for a way to create an experience, or you want to show your client that you can make something that doesn't look like it's natural, but you want to do it all in camera and just with a lens and a good camera, I would check this out. There's also some other really talented people who've used this lens. I'm gonna link to a video in the description of a guy who used it to make a title sequence, and it's just so dope. It's actually the reason why I rented this lens. So think about how the lenses and the equipment you're using makes other people feel, and how you can either make a more personal image or you can make a more like distant planet image. Now, granted, it's the same planet. We're still on Earth when we shoot with this, but it can make someone feel like what is that? Where are we? And that's really cool. I think that's worth the rental. I didn't buy this. I rented this for $40 a day, so check it out.